Our next competitor is Casey Box. Come on up, Casey. Your final chance to impress the judges. How do you think you've impressed them over the entire competition?
You know, I feel I've been consistent. I've been myself. I've been having fun. So I feel like they've got a good idea of who I am and what I can bring to the radio station.
All right, well, keep that going here. It is your final rant for our judges. 4 minutes on the clock, Casey, and they're all yours.
All right, if the Seattle Seahawks want to continue the success that they've been enjoying, there is one move this offseason they absolutely have to get right. Now, I'm not talking about locking down your defensive players. Bobby Wagner, Byron Maxwell, you got to get them to new contracts. They are indispensable, especially given the fact that Richard Sherman's elbow is about as trustworthy as Jameis Winston with crab legs in a grocery store. So you get that done. And I'm not talking about Russell Wilson. He's a franchise quarterback. You got to lock him up long term. When you got a guy that's that good on the field, he's that good with the media. He's that good with your fans. And let's be honest, he's that good looking. You got to lock him down long term. Give him a 30-year contract that moves him from the field to the front office to the broadcast booth or a coaching job. He's your golden boy. That's a no-brainer. But the move that is absolutely crucial is also going to be the move that is the most unpopular amongst the fans. Unequivocally, the Seahawks need to cut Marshawn Lynch. You don't let him play out as last year. You don't risk the drama of a trade, and you definitely don't extend him. You cut bait and move on. Running backs in the NFL have a short shelf life. And at the age of 28 right now, soon to be 29, his shelf life is about to expire. Now, there's no denying, over the past 4 years, his production has been elite. And he has been arguably the most important name on the Seahawks roster. But past production does not guarantee future value. He's old and aging. Seattle should know this better than any other franchise. You remember a guy named Shaun Alexander? At the age of 28, he goes out and has a historically great season. 1,800 rushing yards, 27 touchdowns, and what do? They reward him with an 8-year, $62 million contract. He follows that up in 2006 by rushing for under 900 yards, missing 6 games, and quickly getting himself off of the Seahawks roster. You got to learn from that example. You can't offer these guys a fan appreciation, career achievement contract like the Los Angeles Lakers extended to Kobe Bryant. You've got to learn from the teams around the league that are sustaining their success. You look at the Patriots. When a players do a big contract and they realize they can move on without him, they let Deion Branch go. They let Hakeem Talib go. When a player is getting old, and even if the production might still be there, they let Randy Moss go. They make the moves to position themselves to continue to win. They reload and they move forward. The Seahawks have some nice pieces behind Marshawn Lynch and Christian Michael and Robert Turbin. Kick the tires, see what you got. But you got to move on from Marshawn Lynch. The Seahawks have been progressive. They have been aggressive, and they have been shrewd in the decision-making that they have done ever since John Schneider and Pete Carroll teamed up. And now, more than ever, with their team in a position to win and win for a long time, this is an absolutely necessary move that they get right this offseason. Seahawk Nation, I'm sorry to tell you, but Marshawn Lynch has got to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. Well done. Fine way to finish things up here. Let's get some thoughts from Suk.
I thought it was good. You're solid. I don't know how you decide who wins this, because I don't think that there's a whole lot of weakness here. I think you've been good this whole time. At the beginning, I thought that was a little choppy. I didn't quite follow everything there. But as you got into the final 3 minutes of it, it wasn't an opinion that I particularly agreed with. But I thought, again, I listened to it. You had me hanging on your words. I thought you made a very good argument. You had me rethinking my position. I've liked you from the very beginning, and nothing about that changes my opinion. This is a very, very tough contest. I don't know who wins or loses, but I don't think you did anything tonight to deserve to not go on. Whether or not that means you do go on, I don't know, because the competition's tough. But you should be damn proud of the job that you've done throughout this competition and tonight. Be very proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Isaac?
Yeah, one thing that hasn't been said about you that needs to be said is you're very clear. You speak somewhat deliberately, but that's good. You have, and that's important on radio because radio, it can be, people are in their cars and maybe they're not listening to everything you say, or they're checking their phone, or they're thinking about different things. You have a really good presence/pace about you, which I love. Like I anytime you're talking, whether I agree with you or not, I'm following it because it's a good flow.
It's almost like you're reading a story. You're like a librarian.
Yeah, and that's really good. Whether you win this competition, I don't know if you're going to win. It's really close, but that's a great thing.
Thank you.
Well, let's get the thoughts from our judges. We'll start with Luke Anderson.
The last comment Suk just made, called you a librarian, said that you're reading that. There wasn't a lot of change of tempo. There wasn't a lot of change of inflection. You just kind of ran us through it. One thing that it's kind of a pet peeve of mine, I don't know if it's good or bad, but I don't like it when people say, here's what I don't want to talk about. And you kind of started that way. So for me, it was a little bit slow. I mean, I understood a lot of your points. I don't know that I necessarily agree with it, but that's good. I mean, I listened to it, and I don't know if maybe there was an opportunity for you almost to play your own devil's advocate a little bit more, to kind of give the argument of the other side of the argument. You know what I mean? Like give the perspective of who's saying you need to keep Marshawn Lynch and why.
Yeah.
You get into his personality and how it meshes with the team maybe a little bit more, but it was really good, and it's hard to kind of break it apart, but maybe a little bit more personality in there,
Okay.
a little quicker start, get right into it, and then bring those other the other changes the Seahawks can bring in later. But I would have went right to the topic.
Dusty.
That's good.
I thought you nailed it. We hear about how productive Marshawn Lynch and how great he is, but bringing up the past of Sean Alexander is great. You did leave an opening for criticism from people is at the very end when you said Pete Carroll and John Schneider have been so great with their moves. People are going to say, well, why, if they do keep him, why should we doubt that? But that is getting very nitpicky because you opened up a conversation in that as well. I agree with you started off a little slow, but you had to set it up, and I believe that it was a deliberate setup that you had, and you did it very well. But I would have liked to see you just hit with Marshawn Lynch first and say why not Russell Wilson, not Richard Sherman, not Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
Hit us first and then come back to why.
Okay.
Thank you,
Appreciate that.
judges. Thank
All
you,
right.
Casey. Well done.
Thank you.
You can relax for the rest of the evening.